So today's video will be on avoiding gossip, and to be honest with you, this is something that I used to struggle with, and thank God that I am no longer in that place because it really is just a waste of time. This video is a continuation of the series, Building Better Relationships. The entire series playlist will be linked in the description box, based off of the plan in the Bible study app called You Drive Me Crazy by Rick Warren. So, avoiding gossip. So, when somebody hurts you, the first thing that we want to do is tell somebody else because we want them to say, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe you went through that," and kind of sympathize with us, and it kind of almost validates our feelings in a way. But God doesn't want us to do that. He really doesn't. When you tell someone else about an offense, you are being unloving. It's so hard to keep an offense to yourself, but it gets easier in time. And I'm saying this from experience. Not only are you being unloving, but I always thought, I never wanted to say anything bad about somebody else because, well, for several reasons. First, that person will now have a jaded perception of the person who hurt me. Maybe the person who hurt me just did it, but they're not, that's not necessarily their character. Maybe they just did something that hurt me, and later on we'll patch it up and move on. But the person that I gossiped to, they don't know that we patched it up and move on. They still have that jaded perception of the person who hurt me. I feel like I explained that very confusing. I hope you get what I'm trying to say. But you don't want to, give somebody a false perception of the other person. Think about it. Would you like somebody to do that to you? A lot of times we all act in ways that hurt other people. But that's not necessarily who we are as a person. It's just us in that one moment. Maybe we were angry or tired or whatever emotion we were feeling that caused us to act like that. Or, we're just simply making a mistake because we're human. But that doesn't mean that we want other people to think of us in that negative light. So, don't do that. And also don't do that with your spouse. If your spouse tells you, I don't know, maybe somebody needs to hear this, but if your spouse tells you, don't say anything, don't say anything. Respect that with your spouse. You don't have to tell your parents everything that goes on in your marriage, or your friend, your girlfriend, everything that goes on. There are some things that need to be left between a husband and wife. And if your husband or wife is telling you not to say something to someone, then don't. Leave that between you two. Same thing if you guys, have a disagreement. Leave that between you two. If you have something major go on and you really need some Christian advice and, some Christian support, that's different. Do that together, and or seek, somebody that you trust that won't judge that person and be biased. But for the most part, don't you don't have to share every single thing with every single person, with all your friends and with your parents, or whatever. Keep that between your marriage. But yeah, back to the video. Avoid gossip when somebody hurts. So one thing that you can do instead of gossip is forgive. Let it go. Love prospers when a fault is forgiven, but dwelling on it separates close friends. Proverbs 17:9. Wow, isn't that true? That is such a true verse. And I wish I saw that verse years ago. But nevertheless, I know it now, and so do you. So, keep that in your heart. The person who hurt you is now controlling your conversation, emotions, and day. Don't let anyone have that effect on your life. So if they hurt you and then you pick up the phone and you call someone else, you're letting them control, what you're talking about. Let it go. Don't give them that much power. Don't let them, let you dwell on that in your mind. The more that you think about how they hurt you is, the more that you will have that kind of restlessness and that lack of peace in your heart, especially towards them. So don't let anybody have that much control on an effect over your day. Do not do wrong to repay a wrong. Do not do insult to repay an insult, but repay with a blessing, because you yourselves were called to do this, so that you might receive a blessing. 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 9. Jesus forgave those who were hurting him on the cross. So while he was on the cross, it's in Luke chapter 23:34. He was being crucified on the cross. They were gambling his belongings. Jesus said, "Forgive them, for they do not know what they do." He asked God, "Forgive these people for, what they're doing." And right after he said that, they gambled his belongings. They still had no idea what they were doing. But while he was on the cross, he forgave them. He didn't forgive them after, or he didn't think about it or have to, really wait until time passed out of the situation. He did it while they were hurting him. He forgave while they were hurting him on the cross. And that to me is just incredible. That's what we are to do. We are to forgive people while they are hurting us, in the midst of that hurt. Forgive like Jesus did. And that's it. That's all I have for today. And that's the last video in this series. I really enjoyed it for the entire month of February. If you have any video requests for March, please leave it in the description box. I'm sorry, in the comments. And I'll talk to you next time. Bye.